Murder Drones is a new series by Glitchtex, formerly known for their series Meta Runner. Murder Drones is a 3D series but uses tasteful indie animation to tell unique stories you just aren't going to get from the mainstream. The series focuses on a series of artificial intelligence robots as they try to fight back against their creators. Today we'll be breaking down the story of the first 2 episodes and what we know about the Murder Drones so far. My name is Deepcut, hit that subscribe button, and let me know if there's any other Murder Drones topics you want me to cover for future videos in the comments down below. Now let's jump into it. Murder Drones opens on the Worker Drones, a series of artificial intelligence robots meant to help the humans mine exoplanets. The planet for this particular story supposedly met a grim fate when its core collapsed while mining it, creating some sort of frozen explosion that the drones survived, but no humans. The worker drones had no one to answer to without humans, and instead created their own way of life that somewhat emulated that of humans. Humans still existed elsewhere, however, particularly on Earth, so this came to an end when the parent company that created those worker drones sent new murder drones to Earth to destroy them. The remaining worker drones managed to hide themselves behind 3 doors in a bunker, setting the stage for the first episode of the show, where the main character Uzi wishes to use sci-fi tech to fight back against these disassembly drones that have come after them, or murder drones. Uzi quickly gets into a fight with one of these, but accidentally causes damage to him so that he can't recognize her as one of the worker drones he is there to disassemble. Instead, he mistakes her for a disassembly drone like him. This causes him to act friendly to her, introducing himself by the letter N. Despite his friendliness, he is still quite the killer and seems to take an almost demonic pleasure in murdering the drones, because he gets to drink their oil, which helps him sustain his life longer. Despite liking Uzi, N eventually realizes that she is a worker drone and follows her back to her base to murder her and everyone else there, and he gets quite a few people before Uzi's own father ends up locking her out instead of firing a weapon to stop N from killing her. N's good nature we saw earlier causes him to pause here, but only long enough for 2 of the murder drones on his squad to return, V and J. Just as sadistic as N in his hunt, but much less sentimental in the moments in between. N tries to reason with his teammates, but they are blind to the issues in their programming, and N ends up changing sides and helping Uzi despite just killing some of her father's co-workers. The 2 manage to get V under control and seemingly destroy J, with Uzi and N retreating back to the murder drone ship. Episode 2 followed up on these plots, particularly on the supposed death of J. In the first episode, Uzi blew off N's head and it was able to regrow, but the damage to J seemed to be so severe that she was not able to grow her head back. Instead, it activated a backup program called Absolute Solver. This program had its own sort of sentience that is a bit above the drones and uses complex machinery that it develops based on what parts it can find, in addition to holograms of existing drones to trick its targets. The Absolute Solver is left as a bit of a mystery at the end of episode 2, but one that should continue to be an important part of the story. Now in episode 2, we see a glitch in N's memory that shows a time before he was on this weird exoplanet and seemed to be serving humans on Earth. The humans are cast in shadow, something I imagine to be a stylistic choice to keep the show feeling animated, but that some fans believe may reveal they are not in fact human in time, but more on that later in the video. N and the other murder drones appear to be working as simple servants in a home. They are generally treated with disdain, and even their hair is seen as an unnecessary addition from their owner. For some reason, they appear to have been remade into murder drones and sent off to Uzi's planet. N's memories are vague, and he appears to have another identity as the pilot of the ship that was also purposely erased when they landed, with the programming to be a murder drone taking over. Their final programming came with a purposeful flaw, which is that their systems will overheat if they are not satiated by oil, such as the oil of the worker bots they must destroy. This system is in place so that once there are no more worker drones in the area for them to destroy, they will inevitably overheat and die, stopping them from developing their own AI society in place of the worker drones. The problem with this is it doesn't really account for the worker drones' ability to hide themselves. One of the murder drones explains that they had been trying for quite some time to get past those 3 doors, and if they ran out of worker bots on the outside of the camp, the murder drones would inevitably die, and the worker drones would be free to inherit the planet again. So in the end, the need for violence against these murder drones is unnecessary, and waiting them out appears to be a valid way of defeating them. This isn't to say that Uzi's father should have abandoned her as we saw in episode 1, but that he was at least accidentally right and that hiding from the murder drones could be the best way to defeat them. Uzi, however, opted to work with the reformed N, believing she could repair his ship and they could pilot it back to Earth to fight the humans. What hasn't been addressed yet is that if N is no longer killing worker bots, he will begin to overheat at some point, and Uzi will have to try and find some way to save him. Since there appears to be a time where N was able to exist comfortably not needing to murder, and thus not needing cooling oil, I imagine that he and the other murder drones could be restored to this form, even maintaining their murder drone tech while fixing that overheating issue. The fact that N was once a servant bot before becoming a murder drone is a bit interesting. While the ship they came in could seemingly return back to Earth with some fixing up from Uzi, it was purposely designed to get them to this planet and leave them stranded. And without oil, they would die once they finished killing off all the worker bots, or even if the worker drones just managed to hide out for a long time. This fate makes sense for AI created specifically to go out and kill off the worker drones, but them being servants first raises a lot of questions. In the flashback, the fact that these drones have hair is seen as a novelty, and one that makes them unnecessarily humanized. At this point, the destruction of Uzi's planet had probably already happened, and the supposed humans were becoming suspicious of an artificial intelligence uprising. Uzi's story is that the humans mining the planet accidentally caused their own destruction, but V puts forth the idea that what Uzi believes may not be the truth. All it would take is one rogue AI to blow up the planet, and for the rest to just blame it on the humans, not realizing it was one of their own who was responsible. Whether or not this is true, the humans would have a lot of reason to think this is at least possible, and that an AI uprising could happen in their future. It seems to me that it wasn't just the liberated robots of Uzi's planet that the humans decided to destroy, but all artificial intelligence robots as a whole, even sending the ones they had on Earth that were simple servants to destroy the worker drones, and modifying them so that they fall apart as soon as they accomplish their mission. If Uzi and the gang do make it back to Earth, they may find it devoid of artificial intelligence robots, with the humans returning to a more natural state of life before these robot servants came into play. That being said, I also like the theory that these humans aren't human at all, but are themselves highly developed artificial intelligence, perhaps the first ones to actually replace the humans. Their dislike for the worker bots may just be a hatred for other AI who, while currently less developed, could perhaps rise up one day and replace them, the same way these AI replace the humans. We are only at episode 2 of the series, however, and as fun as these theories are, they may go into wildly different directions with each new episode, as is the case with new series. The biggest threat right now still seems to be the absolute solver, and where exactly it fits in. Like the murder drones themselves, I imagine it has to have some sort of self-destruct sequence too, especially if it's so much more sophisticated and artificial intelligence than the murder drones. I doubt the humans would have it as a backup if it could potentially be more dangerous than the lowly worker drones and murder drones that they were trying to destroy after all. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let me know what other murder drones theories or topics you would like to see me cover on this channel. See you guys next time.